What's going on, guys? Hope you all are doing great. In this video right here, we'll be creating Paint. Yes, Microsoft Paint, but this is going to be from you. You'll be able to create that with Python and Tkinter. So why is this so cool? Because we'll be able to paint, we'll be able to erase, use a brush, use a pencil, and most importantly, when you create those diagrams or you create those paints and you actually like them, what you'll be able to do is you'll be able to save it, which is really important and really cool. So that's all we'll be doing here today. Hopefully you're excited about it because I am. If you're new to the channel, subscribe because it's a two-part series, so you get the part two. Like the video, guys. It helps me out with the YouTube algorithm and it's completely free. So like the video, guys. And if you have any questions or video suggestions or you run into any problems, put it down in the comments below. And with all that said, let's get started, guys. Now you can see that we have OS here because this will help us to save whatever we make in our paints. Another thing we have is we have Pillow where we import images. We have Tkinter for the colors and also the buttons, the scale, the canvas, the label, the entry, and everything, the message box, everything. Tkinter is going to help us with that. So these are all the libraries we need. These are the modules we need. So with all that, make sure you install everything. Down in the description below, you will see a link that will take you to a web page. All you need to do in that web page is copy the link in that web page and you paste it in your terminal right here and it's going to install it. It's a pip link. So make sure you do that because without that, it won't work out. Right now, you should have all your modules installed so you don't get an error while we create this. What we need to do next is we need to create a class and we'll call this class file name. Right here, we'll create a instance. So def init, I'll put master in here. So top is equal to self dot top, which is equal to top level. Inside here, we'll put master. Next, we'll say self.lbl, set that equal to label, and also text, where we'll say choose a file name. And this is for saving our paint. Next, we'll say self again, .lbl, .pack. And this label, you can see that it's showing, this should be capital. So make sure it's capital, because if it's not, you'll get an error. Self.ent underscore file name. Set that equal to entry with a capital E, top. I'll also say self.ent file name dot pack. Next we'll say self.btn underscore OK. We'll set that to button. So top. After that we'll say text. Set it to OK. And the command, set it equal to self.cleanup. What we'll do next, we'll say self.btn OK.pack. Now you can see that we use self.cleanup here, so we need to create this. And where we do that is we'll create a method called cleanup and put self inside. PyCharm already did that for me, so yeah, we'll say self.file name. And we'll set it equal to self.end file dot get. After this, we'll say self.top dot destroy. And if you have any questions, you don't understand some of the things I'm using, it, put them down in the comments below and I'll explain it in detail. But yeah, I can't explain every single line of code we're creating here. So now that we have this in place, we could have easily created this later, but sometimes I like doing all this little minute stuff earlier so you don't forget it. What we'll do next is we'll create a class and we'll call it paint. I'll give it as input object. What we need to do first is we'll create a default underscore pen underscore size. And set that equal to 6.0. And again, we'll have a default color. So we'll just say default color because we need this defaults to actually, yeah, so it's going to be set to something when you start and then after you can change it to whatever you want. So in our case, the default pen size is going to be 6.0 and the default color is going to be black. Next, we create a def underscore init. And then we'll say self.root is equal to T, capital T, don't forget that, TK. Yeah, so now that we have this, our self.tk root, what we'll do next is we'll say self.root main loop. And just so we can actually see our, just so we can see our GUI, what we do next right here down below is we'll say if underscore name is equal to underscore main, then we just call our paint class. And right now if we run it, you can see we have our GUI right here. For sure, it has really nothing on it. It's just a plain GUI, but we know actually it's working out well and we can start adding different functionalities like increasing the width, adding our buttons, and just also adding the functionalities that those buttons will actually do. So that's what we're doing next. So what we do next inside here, in between the self.root.main loop and self.root.tk, we'll say self.pen underscore button is equal to button with a capital B. And we'll say self.root, give it a text equals to pen. And the command right here, I'm gonna leave it, or you know what, I'm just gonna put the command. For sure we need to create the method itself, but I'm just gonna put it there. The method is going to be called self.usePen. So this method would have to be created for this to work, but I'm just putting it there as a placeholder now because sometimes when you do this, you actually, I found out that a lot of people forget to add stuff like this, so it's better to just add it right now. I'm going to say row is equal to 0, and now column is equal to 0, and sticky is equal to EW. Can run this again. Okay, let's remove this right here because it's telling me we don't have that method. Can run it and you can see we have our pen right here. It does nothing, but we have it right there now. I know what I won't, I would actually just leave the command. We'll add the command later when we actually create the method. So to make things faster, I'm just going to copy this right here. And we'll do basically the same thing for the brush. So I'll change this to brush. Anywhere you see pen, you just put brush. And for sure, we'll change the column so the position is different. And the column, we'll make it a 1 instead. And yes, for this too, we need to add the command later. And hopefully you understand that the command is going to call the function that actually gives the button its functionality. So that's what we're doing there. The next is color button. The column is 2. Text is color. And we also have an erase button, so we do that too. Or eraser. And eraser too, right here. And the column is 3. And I can just run it right now so you actually see it. You can see the buttons, pen, brush, color, eraser. For sure, they don't have any space, but we'll create that step by step, guys, step by step. Rome was not built in a day, so yeah, we're taking it step by step here. Now that we have the eraser, we have the buttons that we need. What we need to do next is we'll say self.size scale, size underscore scale, set it equal to scale with a capital. And inside here, we'll say self.root. Then we say from underscore, we set that equal to 1. Then we say 2 equal to 10. And the orient, we'll set that equal to horizontal. Now that we have that, we'll say self.size underscore scale dot grid. We'll set a row that is equal to 0, a column that is equal to 4, and sticky, which is equal to EW. You can see right now we have it right here. You can set it from 1 to 10, as we did from 1 to 10. And this is going to act as our, in case we want to increase the size of our pen or increase the size of our eraser, we'll use this. So 0 is the smallest size and 10 is the biggest. What we'll do next, I'm just going to copy this because we're going to create the polygon. So how we do this is right here, I'm just going to paste it, and for sure we'll clean some stuff. The first one is the line button because we'll be able to create a button where you can create lines faster. It actually helps you create lines faster, straight lines. So the name here is going to be line. And just know that this text right here, you can change it to whatever you want. Here is going to be line. And for the grid, the row is going to be 1 and the column is going to be 0. Now if we run it again, just so you see what we're doing, we have the line button right here. It's on row 1, but it's on column 0. This was on row 0. So you know the rows start from 0, this is 1, and so forth. Okay, now the next one is we'll have the poly button. Change this to poly, poly. The text is going to be polygon. And this is going to be row 1, column 1. And yeah, do I have to show it again? Okay, I'll just show you again so you see the difference here. But I hope you get it right now because that's the whole purpose. So you can use this Tkinter to actually create your own projects, your own custom projects. You could switch this around and maybe put the line or the column up or yeah, just make it your own project. That's the whole purpose of this. Now what we'll create is we'll create a self.black button and we'll set that equal to button. It's going to have a self.root. The text is going to be just an empty string like this. The color is going to be black, hence the name black button. We also have active background. I'll set that equal to black. And that's about it. For sure, we'll need to add a command later, but that's the same for everything we're creating here, because without the command, they're useless. We'll say we'll say self.black button, the grid. We'll set the row to 1, set the column, set the column to 2, and sticky to EW. Hopefully you have this. This should be active background black. So make sure you have it exactly like that. I'm just going to copy this right here and paste it down below. We have something very similar to this. And this is the clear button because you need a clear button if you're creating paint. You don't want to be erasing everything. Some things you just want to clear them because they suck or they're not that good or you don't really like it. So you have a clear button so you can have a new page, a blank page. That's the whole purpose of that. The text is going to be clear. The background is going to be black. Active background of, and for this actually we don't need a background like that. And we don't need this active background. So I'm just going to erase them. And for the clear button, we'll have a row 1 and we have a column of 3. And yes, so now if we run it, okay, so we have an error right here. This is with a Y, and for some reason I put a T right there. So that's the error there. And this is why sometimes it's good to actually run your code in between. So you make sure that so far everything is right. And you can see we have everything right here. We have the color black. We have our button polygon line clear. We have this. So everything is looking great. And we do not have any errors, which is very important. We had one, but we found it real quick by actually running it in between. Another thing we need a save button because this is really important. If you have a painting, just like the clear button, when you have a painting or you made something you don't like, you can just clear it off. If you make something you like, then you should be able to save it. So that's what we're doing next. And it's actually going to be very similar to this. Just copy it right here. We paste it, and this is going to be save instead of clear. Put save right here too. The text is going to say save, so you know you can save it. The column is going to be 4, and the row is going to be 3. No, the row is going to be 1. No, not 3. Okay, now we're going to actually work on the canvas. So we'll say self.c, set that equal to canvas. We'll say self.root, then bg, set that equal to white, then the width, because as we saw, the width is really small. Don't know what's happening with spelling width. We set our width to, let me see, we set it to 600. And we set the height to 600 too. That's about it. Now we'll say self.c dot grid. Inside here we'll put a row, set the row to 2, and our column span, we'll set it to 5. Now we can run it again. And you can see now we have a big white space, a big canvas where we can create our paintings and put everything in, which just looks great. We have a lot of space to actually draw. You can make yours way bigger, make it to your desire. That's the whole point of this. That's why it's better to use this than Microsoft because you can actually make it to suit your own personal needs. So yes, guys, you can see that we have our canvas right here. We have the buttons. We created everything we'll need. A button for saving, for clearing, erasing, color, brush, pen, lines. It's all great. Now, the next part is we're going to actually create the functionality to make all these buttons work. Because if we click on them, they do not do anything. So we'll create the functions and we'll connect them together so everything works seamlessly. This is the time to take a break. I'll be releasing the part 2 of this very soon. So make sure your code is working out perfectly and you have exactly what I have right here. If you're new to the channel, subscribe so you can get the part 2 of this. And also like the video, guys. It really helps me out with the YouTube algorithm. Like the video, guys. Comment down below if you have any questions or you're struggling with anything. But I'm going to wrap this up and I'll see you guys in the part 2.